Hey everybody, how's it going? I be tripping over a lot of stuff, right? That I see, not only online, just in a lot of places in general, right? And I was just wondering, does it really matter what people think of you? Let me ask you why. Let me tell you why I asked that question. Um, I've done a lot of different businesses over the years, ranging in many different fields, right? So the first, the other day, 2 days ago, um, first time I instructed a class in person since the pandemic. So I already knew my material. I knew what I was going into. I had like an hour and a half block of instruction, right? I've spoken in front of crowds of at least 500 people, right? Most people don't know that. I've spoken in a crowd of 500 people. That's the most I've ever spoke in front of. I was so nervous going into this classroom, and there were only 17 people, right? I wasn't actually afraid of the people that I was speaking in front of. It's just that it's the first class that I had to instruct since the in person since the pandemic. So when I got there, immediately like driving there, I was good. I was gonna go in here. I was gonna knock this class out, and that was that. Everybody's gonna get this instruction. They're gonna get this value, and I was gonna be able to get my good evaluation and roll out. So needless to say, when I got there, I mean, cool, calm, collective went out the door. What I mean by this is, as soon as you get in, you had to do all the COVID protocols and stuff like that. Okay, I'm like, okay, I've had my 2 shots. I'm good. Hope nothing goes wrong. I get access or whatever. I'm good. Get in there with the class, and I mean, I'm like, I felt like I was getting ready to hyperventilate, right? And I know a lot of times I do a lot of videos, and we all, we relay all this coolness and greatness, and people think that they know everything about you, and they figure, oh no, not you. You didn't have any anxiety about it. You're confident in what you do. I am extremely confident in what I do, right? But my body was like, nah. My body and my mind was like, nah, we don't do this. We haven't done this part of this in almost a year. We do this stuff online now, right? Or we use the different platforms and webinars, right? So I had to immediately let the class know because I mean, like my breath, I just couldn't even really breathe, right? And I really didn't care what they thought of me at the time. I just thought I would be extremely transparent and let them know that I needed a minute as soon as I walked through the door. I literally was breathing hard, and I had the mask on. It was required the mask and a face shield, right? So never had to instruct with the mask and a face mask on due to all these different protocols, right? But to do it, it had to be done, right? So not caring what anybody thought about me, and I didn't know any of these folks in this class, only the other instructors, and I'm literally losing my breath, and before I could even get out what I was doing with the instruction, and I just paused, and I had to take that moment, like I say, not caring what they thought. I didn't even introduce myself when I went into this class. I don't operate that way. Sometimes I do it backwards, right? And I'm just like, y'all, give me a minute. On my drive here, I felt really good, but when I got here, I started to feel anxiety, and I had to stop because all I could think about was I'm in here with 17 people, 18, including the other instructor, in an enclosed classroom. They were spread 6 feet apart or whatever, but it's the first time I've done this in a classroom setting in about a year. Mind you, perfecting doing everything online. And I was scared. I have to say, I was really scared. Once again, not caring what anybody thinks, really could care less. I was scared. And I felt my chest started tightening up, and I'm literally like, I don't know if I can finish this training. And like I said, it was an hour and a half block of instruction. And I'm literally like, I don't know if I can finish this training. So the other instructor's looking at me like in the back. She's like, "You good?" I'm like, I got it. I got it. I'm got it. So needless to say, I'm letting the class know, like, hey, y'all, just it's been a minute since I've had to do an in person class. Got that time, composed myself. Mind you, chest is tightening up. I got the mask on and the face mask, and I'm now having to re rethink how I would normally instruct, right? I'm only going left to right. I couldn't walk up the aisles in the class and really interact with the folks in the back of the classroom, the way that an instructor would normally do. You know, walk up the aisles, communicate, cross the classroom. I could only go in different particular areas because of the way that the pandemic and COVID protocols are set up. So it was really, really tough. But once I got going, I knew my subject material. Okay, I was teaching at the time. I was teaching the chain of command, how to follow your chain of command, and standards of conduct, right? And once I got going, I was good to go. No heavy breathing, nothing. Class was very understanding. They encouraged, and you could see that in their minds. They was like, "Yeah, we feeling the same way, right?" Because they were forced to have to be there as well, right? So, needless to say, after I composed myself, I did what I usually do a lot of times when I instruct. I purposely do not introduce myself right away. And the reason why I do that is because if I'm feeling the way that I felt that day, I can kind of relax a little bit, compose myself without screwing up my own name. It's nothing worse than to be, oh, my name's Anthony, and they miss my whole name. So I'm taking my 2 to 5 minutes of introduction time and I'm about to lose it, right? So no, I don't do that part. So what I usually do is like they do with TV shows now. If you're old enough to remember, TV shows used to start off with, like, it'll come on, right? It'll show the theme and the beginning credits, right? That's what TV used to do. Now, what happens? If you don't catch it from the beginning, you miss some things, right? Because they go right into they start going into the show, right? And then somewhere in there's a commercial, or it actually then shows the theme, right? So I go into my instruction. I'm going in. I'm feeling good now, right? So then I introduce myself and I tell my story. Well, I didn't get so much to tell my story, but I told them about myself, talked about my credentials, and why they should trust me and why they should listen to me and why I'm that subject matter expert guy, right? So that's just goes to show you that what people think about you, it doesn't matter. If you can show a little bit of transparency and show that you are a real person, especially when you're instructing, people are more likely than not to really listen to you, right? You don't have to know jack, right? You don't really have to know anything, but a lot of times people take stock in your credentials, and I can show you, this is not the book, but I can show you a book and just show you with all the papers in it and flip through the book and show you all of my credentials. So what? I've done a lot over the years. But the knowledge that I gave them, right? I didn't care about whether they about to see me pass out, right? Because God forbid if somebody had to give me mouth to mouth, right? But like I said, the instructor's in the back. She like, you good? My partner was in the back. Like, you good? I'm good. So I say that to say this. There's nothing wrong with showing that that you're human when you're instructing, right? I had a moment. I had a serious moment. I'm in there about to go down because I got this mask on and I got the face shield on, and I'm not nervous. I'm scared. I wasn't nervous. Like I said, I've spoken in a crowd of 500 before. This was nothing. But each time, it doesn't matter. It could be 1 or 2 people. Sometimes you get a little nervous, right? But I wasn't nervous. I was scared as hell. Because I'm sitting here like I'm going in here with these folks. And I'm in there 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm up, drive, boom, shirt, tie. I had to wear a shirt, tie 3 straight days this week. I haven't worn a shirt and tie 3 straight days in over a year. So I'm already out of my comfort zone. I've been teleworking. Well, I've been in my office, but I've also been teleworking more than I've been in my office. But I was able to give them value, give them the necessary information and training to further their careers. I felt really, really good about that. Whether they follow it, hey, it remains to be seen, right? I hope that they do. And they'll have long-lasting careers with whatever agencies they're going to be working at. But it's okay to be transparent. It's okay to show that You're human, right? You own a business, great. Whatever it is, I could care less what it is. Nobody's gonna love the business like you love it, right? So why are you worried about what everybody else think? Doesn't matter. They're not putting in on what you got. They're not paying your monthly fees at whatever business you're at, right? They're not paying the dues. And people think that dues is all about money. Hey Alex, what's going on, man? Once again, happy belated birthday. I hope that you enjoyed yourself and wishing you many, many more. People think that your dues is all about money. Yes, people pay dues, far as in fee wise, right? Hey Maggot, how's it going? They pay dues as far as money, right? But when we talk about dues, we're talking about paying your dues and getting in the trenches. Whatever you do, if you're a police officer, firefighter, coach, educator, you don't come in with every tool you need. There's some transparency that you need to give to reach the lowest of the low. I'm not worried about reaching that person way up here somewhere, right? Because that person way up there, we got a ways to go to get to that person. I want to reach them still, right? But what I want more so is to bring them down to where we can reach them to, they say, you know what? I needed to hear that, right? So I hope many of you needed to hear this as well, because I just, I'm really transparent about what I do in business. I do a lot of career and professional development, and I need people to believe and trust in me, right? That I'm giving them what they need. But sometimes you need stuff from the people that you're instructing as well. Because if you don't see them with the proverbial head nod or the, oh yeah, or the raising of the hand for questions when it's time to ask questions. Because every time you have to pick to somebody to ask a question, it's probably going to be a problem, because they're either not receiving your message or they really don't give a damn. They're like, oh, I'm just here to get the certification or whatever. No, we're not going to roll like that. When you're in my classroom, you ain't got to answer look, 17 people. I went around the room. Oh, you don't want to answer? No problem. Hey, yes, ma'am. You in the back, whatever your name is. I see on the name tags. And by the way, those name tags are really small this year. They were really, really small. So I'm like squinting because I can't walk through, right? I'm stuck in one area. So it's a challenge, right? But I was transparent the whole way. I'm reading through the material and I'm like, look, y'all, I'm sorry, ma'am. I can't see your name tag. It's folding down on the desk. Or the print's really, really small. Hey, does anybody know why the print's so small? And I'm just making small talk as I'm transitioning between, because they not understanding that I'm hitting the clicker, right? And the clicker's not moving my screen. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's crazy the stuff that you go through sometimes, but the clicker's not moving the screen. It's not my clicker. It's the clicker for the agency where I was at. It's their material. It's not mine. I'm not used to it. So I had to look at it again. I said, oh, I'm holding the clicker upside down, right? So that's a whole nother story. So luckily, it wasn't going the wrong way, right? But I'm transparent. Oh, my bad, y'all. Look. Oh, I'm holding this thing backwards. Boom. But it doesn't take away from what I'm giving them, right? They're still getting the message. And they're like, oh, this guy is XYZ. He's done this. He's one of three in his agency. Well, the first of three to be in his agency and be on a hostage negotiation team. Hey, that's one thing about me that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know, right? But I've done a lot in my career. And when they heard that, when they first heard that, they were like, oh, hostage negotiation. The first thing they're probably thinking, now mind you, it's not an 8-hour block of instruction for me. I had to do my hour and a half, and I got to get out of there for somebody else, right? Waiting for someone to say, what's that like? Or you can see it in their heads, like, is it like TV? Have you ever seen anyone get shot? Or all of those things are what comes into play, right? Rule number 1 is preservation of life. So getting to that point is not even a concern of mine. Preservation of life. Get victims out, and also the offender or the inmate or whoever, get them out as well, right? So I say that to say this. Once again, that transparency from the very beginning of telling them how I felt that morning. I want to say that I had everybody in that room hooked. I had the instructor hooked. The other instructor in the back, she's texting people. She already told me at the end, I'm texting somebody saying, hey, oh, this was a nice segue, nice analogies. But remember what I said. When I drove there, I was feeling good. When I stepped foot out that car and I went in to go get that COVID, the temperature thing or whatever, that nice fancy machine they got. By the way, I need one of those. That is awesome. It didn't, none of that handheld stuff, right? And then you get asked the questions. Boom, heart, everything tight. Transparency. Sometimes you got to practice it, and sometimes you cannot give a damn about what people think. Put it out there. It is what it is. And maybe people will start to be able to trust people a little bit more if they're a little bit more transparent instead of trying to fake the funk for every damn body.